the Danish Lake-Highlands, one of Denmark's most beautiful places with the highest density of lakes and forest. Welcome to beautiful Denmark. You can't talk about the Lake-Highland without talking about the source of all the water that feeds most of the lakes. This little stream behind me will become Denmark's longest river, Gudenåen. Gudenåen translates to Creek of the Gods, or God's Creek. The Gudenåen is 149 kilometers long, that's about 93 miles, and it traverses through 11 of the many lakes in the Lake-Highland. From its source at Tinnetkrat to the mouth at Randers Fjord, it elevates down 70 meters. You could almost say that Den genfundne bro, the uncovered bridge, is some kind of gateway to the Lake-Highland. Built in 1899, it was, at its time, the tallest steel grid bridge in Scandinavia. Even though the gauge was widened, the authorities were afraid that the steel construct wasn't strong enough to support the heavier trains passing over. So it was decided to cover the bridge and build a dam. And in 1929 the operation was ready and the tracks wider. But because the trail was privately owned and business was bad, it closed in 1968. Then in 2014 it was decided to dig the whole thing up and make it a landmark. The result is what we see today. So let's pass the gate and dive into the lakes. We have reached Denmark's fourth largest and Jutland's largest lake, Mossø. Klostermølle, or Abbey Mill, was originally a water mill and is located at the west end of Mossø. In 1872, the grain mill was converted into a sawmill, and the wood waste also served as feedstock for a cardboard factory, also driven by water power. Production continued until 1974, when some of the buildings were destroyed by fire. But luckily the long lumber drying shed was spared. The Danish Forest and Nature Agency purchased the site as a part of a program of nature conservation. Today it is both a nature center and the headquarters for the Danish youth organization Nature and Youth, Natur og Ungdom. Mossø is about 10 kilometers wide and 2 kilometers deep. The area is known for a high population of eagles. Moving on from Mossø, we pass Gudensø, Væssø og Rymøllesø before we reach Ry. From here you can take boat trips through Birksø, Hjulsø or Brassø right up to Silgeborg, or to one of the highlights of this video, which we will visit in just a minute. Not feeded by Gudno, but still feeding all the other lakes, is this little lake called Knudsø. Moving on, we pass Birksø or Rosvig before we end up in Hjulsø, the largest lake between Ry and Silkeborg. Finally, we reach one of the highlights on our tour through the Lake-Highland. Himmelbjerg, or Sky Mountain, is a 147 meter high hill. On top of the hill is a 25.1 meter tall tower, which was erected in 1875 to honor King Frederik VII and his role in giving the Danish people the country's first constitution in 1849. Himmelbjerg grew to fame in Denmark during the 19th century, as people gathered here to admire the magnificent views and celebrate the birth of the Danish nation. Until 1847, the Danes thought that this was Denmark's highest place. Slåensø here is one of the cleanest, if not the cleanest lake in all of Denmark. And when we move north from here, through Borgersø, Brasø, we reach our next destination. We have reached the so-called outdoor capital of Denmark, Silkeborg. In and around Silgeborg, you find the most coherent areas with forests and woods. Thus you have plenty opportunity of hiking, mountain biking or canoeing on one of the many lakes. Something is weird though. The 2.5 kilometers leading up to Silgeborg Harbor are not called Gudno. They are called Remstoball. Weird. Like from the harbor in the town of Ry, you can take boat trips from Silgeborg to Ry or Himalaya. There are all in all 9 boats that take these tours. But the most famous of them is Hjejlen, the world's oldest steamboat still operating. It was built in 1861 and in 2011, when the boat celebrated its 150th anniversary, Queen Margaret II was in attendance. The Gudno leaves Silkeborg through Silkeborg Langsø. We pass through a little suburban town of Rysenberg, where we also can find the well-known Jyllandsring. We are passing quietly through Kongens Bro, King's Bridge, to get to our next location. And if the uncovered bridge was some kind of a gateway into the Lake-Highlands, then this could be the gate out. Tangesø, Denmark's biggest artificial lake. It is the result of a hydroelectric power station. The power station was commissioned in 1920 and inaugurated in January 1921. It is still Denmark's biggest hydroelectric power plant and one of the most controversial power plants in Denmark. 5 homes and 22 farms were flooded when the dam and the power station were built. The dam was equipped with a fish ladder to secure salmon from getting up or downstream. In 1985, the Energy Museum opened at this place, right next to the power station. This concludes our journey through the Lake-Highland. But before we say our farewells, we have to take care of unfinished business. We started with the birth of Denmark's longest river. Now we have to watch its end. We're passing the Blue Bridge and Randers Regnskov, Randers Rainforest. Randers is almost the last place we pass nearing the end. From here, Gudenåen flows into Randers Fjord. And almost at the end of Randers Fjord, it feels like Gudenåen has to pay the ferryman to secure a safe passage to River Heaven. Talk Tom signing off. Catch you on the flip side.